And we're live. We're live by myself currently. We'll give it a moment, allow everybody the opportunity at home to join in. I don't want to say too much right now just because nobody is on at this point. We'll give it a moment here. We'll wait for some people to join in. I have one viewer right now. If I were to guess, I'd probably say this could be one of the Garrison, Toronto, or Southwestern Ontario staff. We're going to have Ryan Valance on the queue today, so he's going to be answering any questions. He's going to be following that comment box. So we have another viewer on. If you guys want to say hi, you can go ahead and do so. Hey, Marissa, hopefully you're doing well. Thank you for joining us this morning. So Catherine's on right now as well, it looks like. This is good. So I'm going to give it another moment, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to review our disclaimer. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to get started right at 9 today. So just to introduce myself, Jordan Guillen, PSP staff out of London, Ontario, servicing Southwestern Ontario. Welcoming everybody today for the functional core strength class. And we've been doing this now for several weeks. Hello, Catherine. So just going through the disclaimer. So in response to COVID-19, PSP is offering telefitness to Canadian Armed Force members. By using social media platforms, the telefitness classes tailored to Canadian Armed Forces personnel become accessible to all. Prior to participating in this session and to make an informed decision on whether you should seek advice from a qualified exercise professional or healthcare provider, consult the Get Active questionnaire. So this was listed in the description of this class and still is. So you'll do that by clicking on those links provided. By continuing in this telefitness class, you understand that there is the possibility of physical injury, and you agree that you do so voluntarily at your own risk. You also assume all risk or injury and agree to release the Canadian Forces Morale and Welfare Services from any and all claims related to your participation in this telefitness class. All right. So it's 9 o'clock. We're going to go ahead. We're going to get right into things today. So as I mentioned, we're going to be doing a functional core strength class today. For those who have been following my classes over the past several weeks, we've been following a lot of the same movement patterns, and we're doing this to focus on progression and to get better specifically within those movements. The movements I'm referring to, we are going to go through, but they're all going to emphasize core strength. So it's all going to be with this particular focus in mind. We've been changing a bit of the work to rest ratios over weeks. We've been modifying some of the resistance. With that being said, I'll go ahead and I'll review today's class with you. What I'll say as it relates to the overall structure or timing of today's class, I'm going to look to get the class started by 10 after, so that's going to include the warm-up. So we'll obviously be wrapping up the description shortly. And then the actual main body of the class is going to be 30 minutes. And then we'll finish off with the cool down. So we're looking at 45, but no more than 50 minutes in total. This class is certainly one that can be modified by anybody, and I'll give those modifications as well. So what we're going to be focusing on is functional core strength type movements. We're going to be doing some traditional movements that will be performed with single arm resistance, and we're doing this to challenge the core, whether you realize it or not. If we focus on single arm movements, we're going to actually engage the core, maybe unconsciously. Maybe some of you will be conscious about it, but it's really going to help to build that stabilization through the midsection. We're going to focus on movements that are going to relate to everyday type activity. So whether this is, lifting, whether this is pulling, things that are going to relate to everyday activity for both military and not. So as it relates to certain activities, we need a strong core for things like lifting sandbags, digging trenches, and even things that we do around home, whether it be doing yard work, taking out the garbage and so forth. So we want to keep a nice strong core, and we want to focus on sustaining this throughout our lives and into an elderly age. This becomes very important. And if we have a weaker core, we're going to be at risk of greater injury. So we're going to focus on going through 8 movements today. We're going to do those in succession. Once again, it's a build from prior weeks. We're going to go through 8 exercises. So each single arm functional movement is going to be supersetted with a core specific type movement. And we're going to go through all of those before we rest. We'll take 2 minutes rest. And we're going to go through it for 3 rounds, which will be 30 minutes in total. And I will be reviewing those movements momentarily. The class can also be modified. You can modify it by essentially just taking a greater amount of rest relative to work. So I'm going to be performing today with my partner, Terry. We're going to be providing different kind of options and working along together, giving you 2 different visuals. But we're going to be working at a 50 seconds work to 10 seconds rest. At home, you could always take a greater amount of rest. So you can work for 30, rest for 30. As a beginner, you could focus on an intermediate of 40 seconds to 20 seconds, or you might work along with us. Now, the workout is going to be functional strength focused, but it's going to be strength endurance. And you are going to get a bit of an aerobic workout as well if you're working along with the format that we're using, which is the 50-10. And that's just because the heart rate's going to get elevated and it's going to sustain elevated. So even though we're muscular training, we're still going to get some cardio benefit. Couple more points to cover before I actually get into the warm-up. I'm not going to demonstrate the movements initially. I'm going to go right into the warm-up, but the warm-up's going to include all of the movements that we're going to do today. So you're going to get that familiarization in that respect. So we've discussed the structure. If you're a military member and you do have any sort of an injury, you're in any kind of a category, reach out to the reconditioning manager or specialist out of Garrison Toronto before you start into this program. Make sure that you have some form of resistance. I'm going to be using a backpack today, and as I mentioned within my description, I've added some weight. Last week I didn't use the backpack. I'm using that this week. And that's simply because we're going to be doing less of those functional single arm movements. So I've added more resistance to offset the fact that we're not doing as much volume. There'll be a greater emphasis specifically into the core. And that's most likely where you'll feel it today if you've been following in with my programming. So your legs may not end up as fatigued after this workout as perhaps some of the workouts past. So I'm using a backpack. Terry has a kettlebell. She also has a laundry bottle. And you'll see those behind us when I stand up to get started. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start into this. Like I said, Ryan is on the queue. So just go ahead and ask any questions that you have throughout to Ryan. Hopefully you guys are ready to go. Make sure you have your water. You guys can get your own music going at home. I'm not playing music. So let's go ahead. Let's get right into this. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start off. The warm-up today is going to be progressive as usual. So I just want you to start off just by moving on the spot. So we just want to loosen up. We want to get the heart rate elevated, but we want to do so gradually. So just keeping the feet moving. Let's focus on bringing the arms across the chest. So we're loosening up in through the chest as we focus on that movement in through the lower body. So hopefully everybody had a great weekend. Hopefully everybody's ready to rock, ready to push through this program today. As you've probably gathered, if you perform it in the way that Terry and I are going to, the intensity is going to be quite high, so feel free to modify throughout. Let's just bring the hands from a low position up overhead. If you prefer, you can move back and forth. So we're just using dynamic movement to help warm up, so dynamically through the upper and the lower body. And as I mentioned, once we get the heart rate elevated and once we're warmed up, we're going to go in to some specific movements that are going to be performed in today's workout. So that way, going into the workout, everybody will feel comfortable with the movements and all of the exercises. So we're going to go through them, but we're going to go through them at a reduced amount. Let's just relax the arms for a second. We're going to bring the heels back, so we're bringing those heels in towards the glutes, and we're doing this to help stretch out the hamstrings here. So I'm going to at times change the angle that I'm working within, and that way it'll give you guys a little bit of a different visual. If you're uncertain as to what I'm doing, you'll be able to see it from a different angle. So let's just walk it out again. Let's just focus on bringing the knees up. So continuing with the theme of that dynamic movement, warming up progressively. So what we'll do momentarily is we're just going to bring it into a light jog on the spot. So let's just bring it into a light jog. So wanting to ensure that the body's nice and warm before we get started. It's going to help reduce the overall risk of injury. So jogging on the spot, let's just bring those heels back. Jog it out. Let's bring it into some jumping jacks. You can always modify if you have concerns with impact. So I'm just stepping out from one side to the other. All right, just walk it out on the spot. So what we'll do now is we'll go through some of the specific movements that we're going to do in today's workout. Let's just start out with a squat, so feet are going to be hip width, shoulder width apart. Let's just focus on doing 5. So we're going through without any resistance here. Let's go into the thruster movement. So you're going to grab your backpack, and let's do 3 on each side. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our bag, keeping a neutral back. We're going to elevate the resistance. We're going to push it up overhead. Let's squat again. Let's pick up the backpack again. Let's thrust it up. And let's just do that a couple more times on each side. Just make sure that you keep your back neutral. And one more on each side. All right, so from here we're going to come up into a push-up position. And I want your feet wider apart. We're going to come down. We're going to come up to the side. We're going to come over to the other side. And then we're going to come down. Let's do that 2 more times. And 1 more. All right, from here, let's bring it back up. We're going to grab our resistance. Let's bring it up overhead. I'm going to get you to focus on doing a single arm lunge movement. And let's just do 3 on each side. So let's relax and switch sides. So try not to rest your backpack if that's what you're using. Stay tall through the upper body. So from here, let's focus on that stiff-legged deadlift. Single arm, so back straight. Try not to twist. Let's come up, lower down, row. We're going to do 3 on each side. So that's 2, 3. Let's switch. All right, now let's finish up by going through our more core specific movements. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into a bird dog. If you prefer, you could do a Superman. Terry will do the bird dog. But we're going to focus on alternate arm, alternate leg, head is neutral. 5 per side. And switch if you haven't already. And then toe touches, we're going to come onto the back. So this is either a single leg or a double, as Terry's showing. And we're just elevating up towards the ceiling. So we're going to focus on 5 in total. And then we're going to go into the glute bridge. So feet are hip width, shoulder width apart, heads flat down. Let's come up and squeeze down and up. Let's do 3 more. And we got 1 more movement here. So as mentioned, these are all the exercises we're doing today. Let's come into a plank position from the knees, and we're just going to walk out and then walk back in. So keep the core engaged. Keep the body nice and straight. And just in and out one last time. The further out we walk, the more difficult it's going to be. All right, let's come up. If you have any comments, leave them now. I want you to go ahead, grab a drink. We're going to get started momentarily. So I'm going to check the queue just to see if there is any questions. And then we're going to go ahead. We're going to start into the actual workout. So I can see Ryan's got it. Says we're looking good. This is great. Rods is in. This is good. Yeah, Max might come in. He may come in and out. He maybe has already. Catherine's ready to rock it. All right, I don't want your heart rates to come down too much here. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So I'm going to go ahead and get the timer going. We have 15 seconds. We're starting with that thruster. Hopefully you guys can see it. Starting off with that thruster. And I'm going to do my first set without the backpack. All right, so let's focus on this, just 50 seconds here. So keep everything controlled. Don't worry so much about your speed. Think about controlling your movements. I'm more concerned with quality of reps over speed of reps. So we want to try to keep as much tension on our muscles as we can, rather than using too much momentum. And in every movement we do, we're thinking about that core. So whether you realize it or not, as you lift up, you're going to be contracting. You'll find specifically, if you touch your core, it's going to be nice and tight. So what we're doing is we're supersetting this movement, and we're going into the bird dog. So let's come right into that position, and we can focus on doing alternate arm, alternate leg. You can just focus on coming up and coming down. Just make sure that we're even. So you're going to want to switch around halfway through. You can always focus on that static position, so that holding position, or you can make it more difficult by coming in and out. So if you haven't already, let's just get into the other side. And I'm going to replicate what I had done there to keep everything even. So nice and straight across the top. I'm going to hold it. And then I'm going to go into that last option that I provided. Head is staying neutral. All right, good stuff. So let's, we're staying down. We're going into the push-up with that twisted side lunge. So feet are wider. Push up. You can bring your hand to the center as you twist up for balance. Control down. Come up to the alternate side. Come into the push-up. And then continue through. I want you to try to stay nice and controlled. Remember, it's not about the amount of reps. Let's focus on the quality of the reps. Almost there. Okay, so now we're coming to the back. Feet are up. It's either 2 legs or 1. So I'll show you the option here. Head is neutral. Eyes are up towards the ceiling, trying to keep the body in line. And I'm not actually touching. I'm just raising enough to get my upper back up off the mat. My lower back is in contact with the mat at all times. So I'm alternating, ensuring that I hit both sides with the single leg. But I'm not using momentum. I'm controlling all the way through. All right, good stuff. Let's come up now. We're going to go into that single arm lunge. Opposite arm, opposite leg. So we're staying tall here. So our chest is out, our body is straight as we move up and down. And our depth is going to depend on our level of comfort. I'm ensuring that my front heel is in contact with the ground. And I'm going to switch sides. Still opposite arm, opposite leg. Starting to heat up, starting to perspire. That's that continual effort with limited rest. All right, so from here we're coming into our next movement, which is our glute bridge. So we're going to come down, head neutral. So feet are hip width, shoulder width apart. If you would like, you could focus on making it more difficult. So you could focus on doing a single leg. Once again, everything is still controlled. So I'm going to do 2 on each. My head is resting. As I come to that low position, I am not resting down, but all of my movement is under control. Squeezing the glutes, keeping the core tight into that top position. And we're almost through the first set. Let's bring it up. We're going into that single arm row, so back is nice and stable with that stiff leg dead. So it's going to be important here that we try not to twist. So naturally, we're going to want to drop this shoulder. So make an effort to stay stable, to stay straight. I have to minimize this. Someone actually messaged me. I can't see the timer. So switch already if you haven't. And we're going to be going into the walkout. So that's the plank from the knees. So stay stable, keep that core engaged. And then we're moving into that walkout. So how far you come out is up to you. As you come into this sort of a position, you're going to be completely recovered. So I'm going to recommend that you keep tension and you don't bring your hands underneath your shoulders completely. You keep them out in front. You're going to ensure that you're keeping tension throughout the core. Head is always neutral. You can always pause in that extended position. Starting to really perspire. We're about to recover. We got 2 minutes recovery coming up. And as I mentioned in the beginning, you're adjusting as you need to based on your level of fitness. So I'm going to start 2 minutes. And I'm wondering how you guys at home are doing. So I'm going to pause this here. So we're paused. I'm going to check the comments here. I got a good sweat going on. I feel good. Make sure you guys are hydrating here. Great workout so far from Ryan. There's some bias there, but I'll take it. Catherine's ready to crush it. I already said that, I think. How's everybody feeling after the first round? Maybe give me some thumbs up if you like it, if you're feeling it. Maybe I'll get a couple hearts even. I know they're going to come in delayed. But use this time to recover, grab a drink. As I mentioned before, I'm going to be progressing now. I'm going to put some extra weight on my back. And I do have extra weight in my backpack compared to last week. So same kind of structure in terms of 8 exercises and 2 minutes rest, but a little bit of a different structure overall in the movement. So adding in some different movements. So certainly going to feel it a little bit more through the core, so the abs and through the lower back. Catherine's feeling good. How's Terry back there? Good. All right, so everybody seems to be good. If you do have questions, make sure you leave them. Ryan is manning them, and he'll get back to you right away. If that was too intense for you, just remember the modifications. During that 1 minute block, just train for less time. So work to the point where you slightly feel uncomfortable, because we do want to focus on a progressive overload, and then rest, and then you can continue into that secondary movement. I'm going to continue with Terry into that 50 seconds to 10. So hopefully you guys are good. I'm going to check our timer. We just hit the 2 minute mark. So let's go ahead, let's get started. We're into round 2. I'm going to throw this backpack on, and without any further delay, we're going to get started. So let me start the timer, and we're going to start right away. So let's go ahead, let's start. So we're already counting down. So we're into the thruster with the squat. Remember to control your movements here, focusing on form and technique, not necessarily speed. Chest out, head neutral. And if you really need to, you're going to use that little bit of a balance to help drive the resistance up. Everything is controlled here. Okay, next movement is going to be the bird dog. I'll do this with some weight on my back, that'll be fine. So I'm going to focus initially just on holding a static. But you can focus on up and down. You can move into the same kind of movement as Terry's demonstrating, which is the alternate arm, alternate leg. In less than 10 seconds, we're just going to make sure that we switch sides so that we're training both sides of the body evenly. So let's go ahead, let's switch. And let's focus on holding this position here. Really engaging the core, staying nice and stiff. Squeezing the abdominal, squeezing the glute. All right, so the next position is going to be the push-up with the side plank. I just wanted to make sure that my strap was tight enough, so I'm not going to get too much movement through the backpack. I want to keep it controlled. I can certainly feel the additional load here. And I'm really trying to emphasize my control. I'm slow within my movement. If you start to get tired, you rest, or perhaps you come down to your knees. Maybe you're leaving out the push-up and you're just going from one side to the other. So coming down if you start to get tired. So I'm going to have to lose this for the toe touches, but I will use it. So head is neutral. Single leg is fine. So eyes up towards the ceiling, chin up off your chest. Control the movement. Pause briefly at the top, try not to rest at the bottom. Only if you need to. Good job, let's keep it up. Almost there. All right, into the next movement, which is our single arm lunge. You guys start without me. I'm just taking a moment to get ready here. Alternating. Keep everything controlled. Taking extra rest as you require it. So once again, core is going to be tight. Stay engaged. Switch sides. Terry's into her water bottle there, or I should say laundry bottle. Heart rate's up. Definitely in an aerobic zone. Okay, we're going to go into that glute bridge. And let's start. So I'm just adding in a different variation here. I can see that you can maybe hardly see me, but I think you get what I'm doing. So I'm bringing my lower body in down towards the floor, so that's including my torso and my glutes. I'm driving up to the top for making a 90-degree angle, approximately. And I'm just continuing through. I have the resistance, so I'm just holding it above head in a static position, slight bend at the elbows. My head is resting into the floor. My eyes are up towards the ceiling. All right, let's bring it into that stiff leg with the single arm. So right into it. Focusing on everything we talked about before within the upper body. Trying to stay nice and straight. Keeping that your back neutral. It's going to help if you keep your head neutral rather than elevated, or you don't want to be tucking it down into your chin. Let's switch sides here. And we're going to move into the walkout. And then we'll be done 2 rounds. So we'll focus on taking another 2 minutes. And then we'll focus on cooling, 1 more round. Okay, walkouts. Same thing as before. The further you come out, the more difficult it's going to be. You can hold the position, or you can continue to move in and out. It can be even small movements. And if you're just overall too fatigued, you can just rest all together. So everyone should be working at their own level, modifying, adjusting as they need to. we've given several options, whether it's a variety of movements, whether it's different work to rest ratios, and we're about to come in to our 2 minutes of recovery. All right, so that's round 2. We have one more round remaining. Let me know how you guys are doing. I'm curious. What are you listening to? What do you have in your backpack? Let me know, I'm curious. So 2 minutes is underway. Grab a drink. Catch your breath. Heart rate will definitely come down from where it is. You're going to want to move around. Try not to stand still. If we're actively moving, our heart rate's going to come down quicker. Feeling good, challenging, I like it. It's all about a little bit of a challenge. So progressively overloading, progressively making your training a little bit more challenging. That way you can focus on continuing to adapt. Without a certain demand, you're not going to get adaptation. So you'll just keep doing the same thing and not progressing necessarily. Good job, Hannah. It's a sweaty one. I know I'm sweating here too. We even got the AC going, but it's not overly helping. Let's see where we're at. Grab a drink. Give me some thumbs up here, crew. Let me see how it's going. Maybe you guys can see the hearts. I don't see any hearts. I don't see any thumbs up. All right, let's see where we're at. Let's get ready to do our third and our final round. So this last round is going to take us to approximately 9:44 approximately. We'll start into the cool down, and then we'll be done by 10:02. So the plan today is to be done by 10:02. I actually haven't taken a drink yet. All right, 2 minutes down, last round, back to the beginning, the thruster with the squat. Let's go ahead, let's get started. Right away, guys, go ahead. Controlled. Just as controlled here as it was in the beginning. Perhaps your resistance is too heavy here and you can't do the single arm. If that's the case, just focus on doing a double arm here. You may not get the exact same core stimulation. If you haven't already, switch sides. Controlling that resistance, adding in that squat. And then we're going to go into this bird dog. All right, into the bird dog. So if you're overly tired here, just focus on resting as you need to. So I'm going to switch back and forth a couple times. I'm going to hold for approximately the same amount of time on each side, but I'm going to switch 4 times in total, ensuring that I train both sides. Always wanting to keep everything even. Keep that core engaged. Stay focused. Squeeze the core. Just as if you were bracing it for impact. All right. We're into the push-up with the side plank twist. Modify it if you need to. Leave out the push-up. That would be an option for you. Feet are hip width, shoulder width apart. Up to the side. Control that negative back to the center. Really focus on that core. I'm not concerned with the amount of reps. The quality of reps is what I'm looking for. Okay, onto the back for the toe touches. I'm using the resistance here. Head's neutral. Chin is up off the chest. We're controlling the movement. If you can, try to pause for a moment in the top position. You're resting as you need to. We're just looking to lift the shoulder blades up off the mat. I'm resting slightly, I'm fatigued, but I'm still keeping good form, trying not to use momentum here. It's normal that we would start to get tired. We're in towards the end of the workout. Just keep it controlled. So we're standing up, we're going into the lunge. I'm still going to use the resistance here. Taking more rest if you require it. Upper body's tall. Trying not to allow the backpack to rest onto the shoulder, so it's just hanging off the back. Making sure we don't hold our breath here. Let's switch into the opposite side. And we're going to be going into the glute bridge. Almost there. Let's hang in there. Well done. We're almost there. I'm going to come back a little bit more so you guys can see. So holding, controlling down, not resting. It might look like I am. Eyes are up towards the ceiling. Chin is up off the chest. I'm just going to adjust my feet a bit more. Squeezing the glutes. Keeping my core engaged. Really emphasizing it in this top position. So we only have 2 more movements, and then we're going to wrap it up. So we're doing the single arm row with the single arm stiff-legged, or I should say Romanian, because it's not really stiff-legged, it's still a bent in the knee. And then the walkout, so we're almost there. Let's stay focused. Let's get it done. Awesome work, guys. Let's hang in there. Adjust, rest as you require. Don't rush it. Don't compromise your form or your technique. Neutral back. Chest is out. Shoulders are back. Halfway through, we're switching. Switch sides. Keep that core engaged. Try not to twist. Keep your upper body in line. Push those glutes back. It's almost like we're sitting back, pushing the glutes behind us. All right, last movement here. So we're in on the knees, we're focusing on walkouts. Almost there, head neutral. Walk it in, walk it out. Try not to allow your glutes to come up too high. Don't arch through your back.
try to stay completely engaged. If you're getting too much of an arch through the spine, just focus on resting, focus on recovering. Add in that static if you choose to. So we can always look at holding that position, depressing the shoulders slightly as we retract the back. Awesome work. Well done at home. Take a moment, grab a drink. We're going to move it out. We're going to stretch it out. We're going to wrap it up. So hopefully you guys did get in a good workout. There was some progression, some modification to the last class. I've been trying to focus on this from workout to workout. So let me know what you guys thought of the class. You can always leave it in the comments. So grab a drink and then we're going to walk it out. I'm going to take a quick look here. See how you guys are doing. Let me know what you thought of the workout. Let me know if it was challenging, feeling sweaty, heart rate is elevated. Listening to the dog snore. Just out cold. I don't know if you guys saw Max. Max may or may not have been in here. He's sleeping right now as well. All right, let's continue to cool it down. So we're going to walk it out on the spot. You can move around, you can move back and forth. We want to keep moving, try to prevent any pooling of blood. Bring the heart rate back down gradually. We'll focus on wrapping up, as I had said, by 10-2. So as we're moving our legs around, let's just start off with a shoulder stretch. So we're going to grab just above the elbow, closest to the shoulder. We're going to apply a bit of pressure, and we're just going to bring that bicep in towards the chest. So hopefully we have some Garrison Toronto or GTA people watching this. Let's switch sides. You know, maybe not live based upon who I know is here and how many are showing or viewing, but still in phase 2. No gyms open yet, so more of a reason to do these virtual type workouts from home. Let's focus on bringing the arms out front now. So we're just stretching out the upper back, so we're just trying to spread the shoulder blades apart. Thank you, Hannah. I'm glad you enjoyed the workout. I appreciate your attendance, along with all of the other staff, the other PSP staff who are in attendance. Let's bring the arms to the back now. Let's bring the shoulders behind as we bring our elbows behind our body. Keep our chest nice and tall. Trying to get a stretch through the chest. And then we'll start into some lower body specific stretching. So as we're continuing to cool down, I'll promote some of the programs and services that are being offered at this time. Let's focus on bringing one leg forward. So the heel is down, the toe is up, and we're sitting back with the hips. Try to keep the body once again straight across the top. And we're stretching out the back of the extended leg. So for those who may be watching this, just what I recommend that you do is take time, check out the PSP Garrison Toronto, PSP Southwestern Ontario Facebook pages. Let's switch legs. Several programs being offered at this time. So there's a lower body 6-week program that's being offered. That's being posted on Tuesdays. There's an upper body program that's 6 weeks as well. That's being posted on Fridays. So you can find this all either through the albums or through the feeds. That would be the timeline. And then there's the Garrison Toronto running program for those of you who may be interested in that. Let's just come a little bit wider and let's just come towards one side. So just enough to get a stretch on the inside of the leg. So there's the Garrison Toronto running program. So it's offered to Southwestern Ontario members as well. We had wrapped up the 5-week training program. Now we're into the 10. It's not too late to join. The race will be at the end of this month. There's some great prizes to be won. So let's switch sides. Check out the timeline. You'll find the details. Hannah has a video on that page which covers all the prizes that we're going to be giving away. And I'd also recommend that you check out the video series from Reconditioning. That's on the albums as well, and all the other content that is there. The national program, let's come to a knee. So what we're going to do is just bring the back leg slightly behind so it's on a bit of an angle. Let's stay straight through the upper body here. But what we're doing is we're tilting the hips forward and up. So the national PSP page, so that's Canadian Armed Forces PSP. If you were to go to Calf Connection and you go to the national page and you look up virtual services, the schedule will be changing into August. So there's going to be, let's switch sides, there's going to be an expansion of programs, so tilting the hips once again forward and up. There'll be a little bit less classes offered live, but there is going to be the playback classes, so they'll all still be available. And there's going to be an expansion of sports. So sports classes, sports drills. Let's come into a seated position. Let's focus on bringing one leg across. And then there's going to be some lectures. So lectures through the reconditioning program, but then lectures through fitness as well. So on all kind of topics. So keep your eyes posted for this. This will come out later this month and will be applied at the beginning of August. So your favorite PSP within Garrison, Toronto, and Southwestern Ontario will still be doing a live class. There's one each month, so take a look at the schedule. It will still be on the Monday. It'll be at 8 a.m., however. If you guys have any questions, feel free to direct message me or leave any of the questions in the comments. Ryan's manning the queue right now, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you perhaps have. Let's just come to the side. Let's stretch out the quad, and then I'm going to wrap it up. So I do just want to wrap up by saying we are focusing on a functional core strength class, and we're doing this to try to help build strength and endurance, through the core. So this is through the midsection, the abdominal, the lower back, and obviously we were targeting the total body today as well. We did a lot of single arm type movements to throw instability into our movement, which will help engage the core even further. So we're doing this to help us and benefit us by reducing the risk of injury and making everyday tasks easier, or this could also be related to tasks in the field. So once again, I hope you enjoyed the class. Jordan Gian, PSP staff out of London, Ontario, servicing Southwestern Ontario. Leave any comments if you have them. Thank you very much. If you were injured at all and you're a CF member, direct message me or personal message me for a DND 645, but you can fill out a CF98 through your chain as well. So thank you very much for participating. You guys have a great day.